Yo, what's good, YouTube? Welcome back to episode 2 of Shoot It Straight to the NFL and NBA side of the pod. And, we're just going to go ahead and thank y'all for the support we got on the first episode because, obviously we were starting pretty much from scratch. And we appreciate the people who came over, subscribed to the channel, all 25 of you so far. We appreciate it. We appreciate all the support we got on that episode. And we appreciate, just the continuous support we've been getting on all social media platforms with the clips and everything, And I'll let G say a couple words before we get straight into this.
Yeah, I'm glad this episode we have people to thank this time. Last one we did, episode 1 we had people to thank, but now we have 25 people to thank. And that's not a lot, but it's a lot to us. It means a lot to because when we first started, it took us a while to get 25 subs. I mean, 25 subs was like literally everybody we knew, but around the second go around, it wasn't especially like that. Now that we're kind of pumping out content more regularly, so I mean, we really appreciate it, but we're really excited to get into this episode because I mean, championship games just passed. A lot of it wasn't a good weekend for me, but we'll get into it.
Yeah, and I think without further ado, we can go ahead and get straight into this.
Let's go.
So obviously, we're gonna go ahead and talk about the NFC Championship game first, and obviously, we all know what happened by now. The Philadelphia Eagles absolutely blew the San Francisco 49ers out of the water, 31-7. Wasn't even a competition. Honestly, the most boring NFC Championship game or any championship game I've ever seen. So look, we'll just go ahead and get straight into this. What is your initial reaction and thoughts on this game?
What a disappointment this game really was, and I don't say that because I chose the team that lost, because I feel like that is a bit of a misconception. I watched this game with Xavier, the guy that we had on episode 1, an Eagles fan, and I wasn't annoyed that the team I picked lost how the way they did. I was just annoyed by the circumstances that led to it. It felt like the game was cursed. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong. You know, key defensive players that lead the 49ers defense. I mean, what are the 49ers known for? Their defense. Two of their best guys get nicked. They're not completely out of the game, but they're obviously not at 100%, near damn 50%. And one of the main guys, Bosa, picked up a knee injury from just standing on the sideline. And then, well, even before that, they lose their quarterback. They lose both their quarterbacks. Look, the 49ers have every single quarterback that they signed to the roster. It's a cursed position there in San Francisco. What was it? He tore his what was it in his elbow?
UCL.
His UCL. So he tears his UCL on his elbow and is basically gone for the whole entire game. And by that point, it was already over. No matter what the Eagles really did, I mean, the Eagles looked great. They looked good. But it was just against an absolute destroyed 49ers team, ravaged by injuries. And it wasn't the most impressive thing ever. I mean, watching that game, I didn't come away from it. Oh my God, the Eagles are this unbeatable, unstoppable force. I mean, you should beat the 49ers. They have no quarterback. I mean, they had nobody. At a point, they had Christian McCaffrey taking a snap. This is how bad it got, to the point to they were looking at Debo. They're looking at receivers to see where they're going to be their quarterback. I don't know how this is seen as such a very impressive win. Yes, it's the 49ers, but everybody was injured. I mean, it's just one of those difficult things. It's unfortunate, but that was my main takeaway from this game, that, it was ravished by injuries and bad calls. I mean, the first, what was the, I'm having a brain fart of the receiver's name now for the Eagles. That
Devonta Smith.
Devontae. That was not a catch. First of all, that was not a catch. Not at all. And look, the Eagles are very smart. They didn't show any of the replays on the Jumbotron because they know it wasn't a catch. You saw how they hurried up because he knew it wasn't a catch. So that immediately started off the game on a bad note. And a lot of times, so many times through the game, the 49ers were shooting themselves in the foot as well by just giving the Eagles dumb fouls, dumb flags. I mean, they're giving them first downs on third and fives. They're fouling and then getting a flag and then giving them first down. So everything that could go wrong with the 49ers went wrong, and that's really the story of this game.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with a lot of what you said. What I'll say is, for me personally, the Philadelphia Eagles, they're a good football team. Don't get me wrong. And I take nothing away from them by me saying this, but this is the luckiest run in NFL playoff history. They played a rebuilding Giants team after they had a first round bye, after having the weakest schedule, you could argue, in the whole NFL in the regular season. And then they finally get to play a team that I considered one of the best in the NFL in the 49ers. And every single lucky bounce and lucky thing that could happen went their way. The 49ers had Christian McCaffrey, like you said, throwing a pass. They had, first of all, they were already on their third string quarterback, that, Brock Purdy. And then Josh Johnson has to come in. And that game was already over at that point. But to make matters even worse, they couldn't even finish the game with Josh Johnson because he got injured. And then they had to put Brock Purdy back in, and he couldn't throw. He literally had a torn UCL. I come away from this game not impressed by the Eagles at all. And if you told me it was going to be a 31-7 Eagles win, I would have said, oh my God, I'm going to be impressed by that. But I come away with this not impressed by the Eagles at all. Jalen Hurts did not have a good game. And people are making it out to be like Jalen Hurts, he did a lot, blah, blah, blah. Jalen Hurts did not have a good game. 121 yards passing, 15 for 25, no touchdowns. All he basically did was manage the game. And, obviously he's always a threat on the ground. And he had, 39 rushing yards, which isn't even that much for Jalen Hurts standards. I come away from this game basically saying that the Eagles had another cakewalk. This was not a competition for them. They are a very good football team, stacked in almost every position, position group, defense and defensive line, corner, linebacker, offensive line. They're very good at every position. But I don't think they've been truly tested throughout this whole season. And I come away from this game not impressed by this team at all. This is a team. Look, you're paying the 49ers on their technically fifth string quarterback when you get to see Christian McCaffrey in there. And
fifth string.
You only are able to put up, when you have the ball, you're only able to put up 269 yards of total offense, considering the 49ers pretty much went 3 and out every drive because they couldn't get anything going. So you're pretty much, this defense was this was a worn out Niners defense, and you couldn't even muster up 300 total yards. I come away from this game thinking that the Eagles are a good team, but I'm not impressed. I am not impressed by this victory, and not at all. And there was a point in this game that it was 7-7, and this was after the Brock Purdy injury. And I'm sitting here thinking, how is this game 7-7? We're sitting here with Josh Johnson at quarterback, a guy, I can't name a team in the league he hasn't played for. That's how many teams he's played for as a backup quarterback in this league. Look, congratulations to the Eagles for making the Super Bowl, but this was officially the luckiest Super Bowl run in NFL history. There will never be a more lucky run. And that's what it is, in my opinion. Take nothing away from the Eagles, because, look, I would love for the Dolphins to have the luckiest run to the Super Bowl in history. I would love to be that team, so credit to the Eagles. But for me, I am not impressed by this. And they might go on and win the Super Bowl. I don't think so, but they might. But this run that they had to get here, I don't know, man. This is pure and utter luck, in my opinion. This is not an impressive win. And people are making it out to be that.
Yeah, and like you said, I was in a house full of Eagles fans, and I swear to God, it was like they beat the 2006 Patriots or something. Dude. I swear to God, it was like they just beat the dynasty 49ers, like in their prime, or the Montana Cowboys, or no, not the Cowboys, the 49ers, but it was a bit ridiculous. Like, okay, I get that one fan doesn't represent the entire fandom, but.
Well, for Philadelphia, I think you could say it there.
Almost, but I mean, the play of the game was that throw to Devontae Smith. That wasn't even a catch. I mean, that just wasn't a catch at all.
I didn't even mention that. That's how lucky they got.
That is how lucky this game was. And look, yeah, they'll say, "Oh, just take away that touchdown, I'm still going to score." That's not the point. That's still not the point, because we're talking about the luck of the field. I mean, you got everything. Every flag was being thrown. I swear to God, every ref just had their hand right here deep in their pockets, already ready. It's like, we're just gonna throw a fucking flag on this shit. Whatever we see, they'll throw a flag. Every single thing was flag. And yes, partial of that is due to the 49ers, but there's still a bit of a luck factor to where they're just getting every single call they're getting. Everything is going to the Eagles. And yes, the Eagles did, I'll give credit, the Eagles did really, really well when Brock Purdy was there. They pressured him. They were able to go against that offensive line. That offensive line that's been very good. I mean, I think it's up there, ranked, I believe in the top 5. It was up there, one of the best offensive lines in the league. Very good at protecting Brock Purdy, and they weren't able to do that. And it was just one freak incident where they caught Brock Purdy when he's about to unload, get the ball out, and they just immediately dump him, and then he's injured. I mean, you can't blame injuries on the team, but it's still a bit of, luck of the circumstance that, whoa, now you get to play a team with no quarterback, a quarterback that literally cannot throw the ball at all. And it became just the most one-dimensional offense of all time. I mean, literally, they were just running jet sweeps, and it was like they put all the names in the hat. Like, okay, who's going to run a jet sweep this time? I mean, you can't win a game like that. That's literally impossible. Like, I don't understand that it's like, oh, the Eagles are this great team when they haven't who they've really beaten. They beat a beat up 49ers team. They beat the New York Football Giants,
a rebuilding Giants with a first-year head coach. And Daniel Jones at quarterback.
Daniel Jones, you beat the mighty Daniel Jones. It's not one of the freaking Manning brothers there, but like, I don't really get it. But like you said, they could go on and win the Super Bowl. And this is not fully like saying that, oh, the Eagles as a team right now are frauds. I'm just saying they haven't really been tested. So I'm not putting all my stock into the Eagles. I'm not saying, oh yeah, the Eagles are this unstoppable force. Yeah, they already got a lockdown. I just don't think they've played anybody where it's like, wow, that team's really during the regular season, they didn't play the Chiefs. They didn't even play the Bills. They didn't play the Bengals. They didn't play any of these teams that are that were in the mix alongside with them. So that's the main problem I have with them. But congrats for them making the Super Bowl. But I do concur with you. I think it's the luckiest Super Bowl run of all time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to call the Eagles frauds because I think, like I said, position by position, they are a stacked football team with very good players at each position. But you look at their schedule and who that they've played this season. I'm looking at the schedule right now, and I can't see a team where I say, yep, that was a very good team that they beat, and they beat them convincingly, and I'm convinced by this team. I mean, the toughest team that you could say that they realistically played in the regular season was the Dallas Cowboys. And both times that they played the Cowboys, the circumstances weren't right. They played Dallas when Cooper Rush was there, and then when they played Dallas the second time and lost, they didn't have Jalen Hurts. So I don't really buy stock into any of those games. And then in the playoffs, you played the Giants, which, look, Giants they're not a good football team. I don't know what to tell you. They were good to make it that far, but they were never going to beat the Eagles. Like I said, the Eagles are a decent football team. But then they played a banged up 49ers team. I just, like we both said, this was the luckiest Super Bowl run in NFL history. I honestly doubt it can ever be replicated. I don't think a team will ever get this lucky again with strength of schedule being as weak as it was. And then when you get that first round bye, you get to play the Giants in the divisional round, which, look, they were a rebuilding team that happened to get to the divisional round. They're going to be better next year, but this year they weren't ready for that. And then you finally play a team that I consider a top tier team, and you get every single lucky thing, whether it's Devonta Smith catch, whether it's Brock Purdy, and then Josh Johnson injured. You got everything to go your way. Congrats to the Philadelphia Eagles, but for me, luckiest run in NFL history.
Yeah. And that, I mean, we will be having our Super Bowl preview later on. That'll be a video, possibly I think next week. We'll be having Xavier back on to give his, his perspective on that game as well, and also to preview that game. I mean, obviously it's the first time since 2017 that the Eagles, since they won against Brady, was it?
Since they won against the Patriots, obviously, yeah. They haven't been back since.
Yes, so and credit to Jalen Hurts. I mean, I've always liked Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts is a great quarterback. I mean, I thought he was in the mix for MVP until he got hurt, but it still doesn't, like you said, it doesn't change the fact that I think this is the luckiest run.
And look, I like Jalen Hurts. I think he is a good quarterback, but even his performance against the 49ers was not blowing me away. It wasn't convincing. Like I said, 15 for 25, 121 yards. I mean,
Yeah, and I also do think he's still not 100%. Hopefully, he is 100% for the Super Bowl. Same with Patrick Mahomes, but still, like you said, it doesn't change the fact that everything else that did happen.
Yeah, but obviously, look, we're like you said, we're gonna be given our official Super Bowl preview and prediction and all of that. But we wanted to wait to do that, as players are going to get healthier, and we don't 100% know that. We don't know about Mahomes. How healthy is he going to be? We don't know about guys like Juju. Is he going to be even playing in the Super Bowl? And that
Yeah.
obviously could alter the prediction. So I wanted to wait for these injuries to play themselves out, and then we'll give our predictions early next week, when more information is there. But obviously, before we get into the other championship game, AFC championship game, I wanted to touch on this topic right here, because obviously the 49ers are going into the offseason, and there's a lot of question marks about this team, rightfully so, especially about this quarterback position, because they have arguably one of the weirdest quarterback situations of all time, you could say. I mean, they have Trey Lance, who they traded so many first round picks to get in
3.
the draft. And then they have Jimmy Garoppolo, who's going to be a free agent, expected to leave. And then they have Brock Purdy now, Mr. Irrelevant, who, what do you do with him? I mean, he's only lost one game as a starter technically. And for me, he's still undefeated, because this game doesn't really count as a loss, in my opinion. So what do you do? And obviously, they're expected to maybe potentially pursue a guy in free agency. So this is what I'm posing to both of us, but to you first. If you're the 49ers, what are you doing at quarterback next season?
If I am the 49ers, I would keep Brock Purdy. I think from what we've seen from Brock, he's better than Trey Lance. I mean, I get Trey Lance from the little that he was shown. He just wasn't clicking. I think his play style doesn't fit this offense. I don't think it really works. I think the 49ers really work with a guy like Brock that can sit in the pocket and just do what needs to be done. Pick your passes. They don't really need a guy with Trey Lance that, when in doubt, he likes to use his legs. And I mean that opens you up to possible injuries. I mean, like we saw him get injured. But I think I'm going to say what I would do, and what I'm pretty sure the 49ers will do is I would keep Brock Purdy and see what you could possibly get for Trey Lance. Try and see what teams will give you for him. I really don't know. And I would get Tom Brady. Tom Brady is available, and there's not a more perfect fit that you can get for what you need. Tom Brady, obviously, has always been a fan of the 49ers. As a kid, that's where he went to watch. He loved Joe Montana. He was there, one of those guys, always been a San Francisco 49er fan, and he's wanted to play for them. He wanted to go to them, I think, originally. Was it before the Bucks, or I think
Before the
during
Bucks, yeah,
before the Bucks, he wanted to go to the 49ers, but they shunned him away because they wanted to get Trey Lance. But maybe now is the perfect time that Trey Lance looked like it wasn't working, and they have Brock Purdy, but he might not just be ready. And who more perfect that you'd want your rookie quarterback, or your second year quarterback to practice under or be behind than the greatest of all time? You'd get Tom Brady for a 1-year deal and just see what happens. Look, Tom Brady with this 49ers team would literally be unfair. It would not be fair, because Tom Brady, knock on wood, he's always been very good at staying healthy. We haven't really seen Brady miss long stretches other than, I believe, what was
when
it?
he tore his ACL.
Yeah, when he tore his ACL. And that between then, he's always been very healthy. And this offensive line is normally very good. I mean, at an uncharacteristic game versus the Eagles, but it's normally very good at protecting their quarterback. And that and Brady with the weapons that it has would be just a match made in heaven. It'd be like Kevin Durant joining the Warriors. It would just be perfect. And that's what the 49ers should do. What I think they're going to do is they might trade Brock Purdy, because this is something you said, his value is very high. You could get something, maybe a little something for him. And then they still might pick up Tom Brady, but just keep Trey Lance and have Trey Lance learn from Tom. So basically the same thing, except that I just switched Brock Purdy for Trey Lance because I like Brock Purdy more.
Yeah, I mean, look, if I'm the GM, if I'm John Lynch for the 49ers, if I'm the GM, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, I have the best problem in sports. I have so many good quarterbacks right now I mean, look, many teams don't have a single good quarterback. In the Niners, I think right now they have 2 on their roster, and they might be getting a third. So, that's a good problem to have. But if I'm the GM, I would trade Brock Purdy because his value is never going to get any higher than this. For me, he's performed extremely well in replacement. Um, uh, fuck, he performed extremely well when he's come in for the 49ers. And for me, this is the guy who has the lowest ceiling out of the guy, out of Trey Lance, because Brock Purdy, there's a reason he was Mr. Irrelevant at the end of the day. His ceiling isn't extremely high. The talent is not extremely through the roof. We know what he is. He's a guy that can be a game manager, in my opinion, but he's not going to be a guy like a Patrick Mahomes. He's not going to be a guy that can carry the team. He needs to have a team like the 49ers do around him. Because let's not forget how good this 49ers team is around him. It's arguably, I think, one of the most stacked teams of all time, position by position. So, that's obviously made him look potentially better than he is. No disrespect to Brock Purdy. I think he's done extremely well. But I would trade Brock Purdy now because I don't think you'll get a first-round pick for him, but I think you could get a mid-round pick for him, and that's about as good as you're going to get. I mean, that's good return on investment. So I would trade Brock Purdy.
For a last pick, the last pick of the draft to get a mid-round one, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good return on investment. So I would trade Brock Purdy, and then I would keep Trey Lance to be the understudy to Tom Brady. I would sign Tom Brady. I think Trey Lance still has extremely high potential in this league. And there's a reason why the Niners traded so much to get him, because Kyle Shanahan thought this guy would be the perfect fit for his offense. He thought this was going to be the guy that could take them over the top and win them a Super Bowl. And I don't know if he's going to be that guy, but it remains to be seen. And whether the people like it or not, he's going to get the benefit of the doubt over Brock Purdy because they traded so much to get him. Whether people like it or not, he's going to get the benefit of the doubt. And I think he could probably use more time to develop and hone in on his skills and potentially, come back from that injury a little better. I think he could take a page out of the Patrick Mahomes book, not sit out necessarily, but be the backup to Tom Brady. What a better situation. You get to learn and be the understudy to arguably, well, not really arguably, the greatest quarterback of all time, accolades speaking. So for me, that is exactly what they should do. And I honestly don't really see it going any other way. I mean, they might sign a different quarterback instead of Tom Brady. Wouldn't really make any sense, but they got to do something. And if I'm them, trade Brock Purdy, keep Trey Lance, and then sign Tom Brady, let Trey Lance learn from him. That seems like the perfect way to go forward with the San Francisco 49ers. Because if you have Trey Lance in there next season and you can keep a majority of this team together, I'm still not sure if they're going to be able to push for the Super Bowl. I don't know if I would pick them. But if you get Tom Brady in there, that's literally a significantly better version of Brock Purdy, a guy that can manage the game and not make those mistakes, but at an even higher level. We know how, even at age, 45, how high of a level Tom Brady's been playing at. And look, I love Brock Purdy. I think he's going to be a good player in the NFL for whatever team he might go to. But if you can sign Tom Brady, I mean, you got to try to sign Tom Brady, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I hope, Kyle Shanahan was a bit, hard-headed to the idea because obviously, like you said, he wanted
Trey Lance.
Trey Lance. I don't know why my brain farts, but yeah, he wanted Trey Lance. But like you said, I think it'd be a great idea. I mean, to be under Tom Brady, and yeah, Tom Brady had a bad season this year, but we can't remember the season before that. He had arguably the greatest season of his entire career, where he was he finished second in MVP behind Aaron Rodgers, and he still has that. And yeah, he's not as good as he was in when he was younger. He can't really carry teams no more. But
you don't have to carry this team.
This team doesn't need to be carried. And if you don't act now, I mean, this would be a win now situation. I mean, who doesn't want to win now? I feel like the Trey Lance thing is a more of a win in the future, but you might not have these players, this team, this group of people that far along. I mean, you might be looking like Trey Lance could be, let's just say you could be a top 5 quarterback in 3 years. You might not have the same group of guys in 3 years. That's not good. That's not something.
It's very unlikely you keep all of these guys even for next year.
Yeah, you're
going to lose some of these guys. Someone's going to leave.
So you have to win now. And who's more perfect than Tom Brady? Because he doesn't have very much left in him. I mean, he's not going to play till he's 60. Look, Tom Brady might have a maximum 2 seasons left in him. Maximum. At least get him on a 1-year deal. And you might just go on and win it all. Because, I mean, that team with Tom Brady, I mean, look, I can't think of a better replacement for Gronk than Kittle. I mean, is there really, other than Travis Kelce, is there really any better? And Tom Brady's always at his best when he has a top level tight end like that. And
He's
to have
about as high level as it gets, right behind Tyler
Christian
Kelce.
McCaffrey, a guy who can
Oh
catch
my
the ball,
god.
run
And
the ball,
Debo
do it all. And Debo, another guy that can literally do
do it all.
everything. He can do it all. These are
And
the type of players Tom Brady loves to have because Tom Brady loves those screen passes. This should just be screen pass merchants, man. To a point, he could throw it to anybody, and we can't even forget Ayuk. I mean,
yeah,
it's an embarrassment of riches, and obviously, the name of the game is staying healthy, and Tom Brady's track record, he's pretty good at staying healthy.
he's very durable.
So
Yeah.
he's a durable guy, even at 45. But
And wait, hold on. And I don't like the guy. But can you imagine a more poetic potential send off for Tom Brady than going to his hometown childhood team, the 49ers, winning them a Super Bowl, and then riding off into the sunset? That is almost the most
that's it.
poetic
That would
ending
be it.
for the most legendary career in NFL history.
That's on par almost with Messi winning a World Cup.
Yeah,
Obviously, that's you can't write some shit better than that. That's literally
you really
just,
can't.
you put it in a movie, it's cheesy. It's like, oh, that's fucking,
Oh
that's
yeah, he
stupid as
goes
hell.
to his hometown team, his childhood team, and wins him a Super Bowl, and then retires. Like you
You
can't even write that.
when was the last time the 49ers won a Super Bowl? I can't even remember. When was it? Like,
I don't. I
it's
honestly, I
not
can't.
within this. Okay, let's just say it's been a decade. Yeah, it's safe
I
to say.
think I don't want to be wrong on that. To
I
be
don't want to
honest,
be wrong, but let's just say it's been a while, and for him to be the guy to finally bring one back, it would be poetic.
but yeah, their last Super Bowl win was in 1995.
1995.
Yeah, 1995. It looks like.
And
Yeah,
for him to be the guy to do it, that would be up there.
it would be. So I mean, obviously, like this is a question that we're very close to entering the offseason for all 32 teams, but for 30 teams, we are entering the offseason. There's still 2 teams left before we get into the full offseason discussion. And I mean, look, that's arguably even more talking points than there are during the season. The offseason has, God, too many talking points to even talk about. So obviously, this is a question that's not going to get answered anytime soon. It probably won't be the last time we talk about it because God knows what Adam Schefter is going to say between now and next season on what they are planning to do. So, just stay tuned, and we probably will be talking about this again at some point.
Most likely.
Yeah, most definitely, probably. But without further ado, let's not beat around the bush any longer here. Let's get into the game of the day. This is a game. You know what? I'm not even going to do an intro or try and introduce the game. Let's just get straight into it. Kansas City Chiefs, obviously, as we all know, beat the Bengals 23-20. And we all know how you wanted this game to go. And I'm going to pass this one off to you first. What was your initial reaction and thoughts to Joe Burrow losing to the Chiefs?
Dude, it was heartbreaking. I mean, I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I backed this team so heavily that I haven't been that after the game ended, it just left me in silence. I haven't been left like that since the Heat lost Game 7 against the Celtics. And I mean, I was born in Miami, and I mean, it was like I couldn't believe it because I think it was more because of just the circumstance the game ended. That it came down to just a boneheaded decision, a boneheaded flag, roughing of the passer to Patrick Mahomes, who's out of bounds. And look, I can't fully blame, like after the game, we want to say, oh yeah, he needs to be cut, he needs to be this. Like, he's going to, like, this is the biggest game of his whole entire life, and you're not looking down. He cannot see Patrick Mahomes is fully out of bounds, and Patrick Mahomes was literally a foot
Yeah.
out of bounds. So I'm not going to come on here and murder him for doing that. So, like some of his teammates were, unfortunately. I mean, yeah, it's the heat. It's a heat of battle. You're going to be pissed at whoever. You're going to be pissed at him. But I'm not going to, days after had time to think about it, I'm not going to fully blame him and say this is fully his fault. But that was just what the game came down to. Just a penalty to get them closer. And that's what it was. The Bengals were on their way to do it again. They were going to do it. And it came down to the offensive line not being able to protect Joe Burrow. Do I sound like a broken record? Because I feel like I do. I cannot, I don't know what has to be done. I don't know if maybe this offensive line needs to go to daily mass or some shit to get the prayer of God so they cannot get injured, because last year it was the same exact problem, except they remade that offensive line in the offseason to protect Joe Burrow. But towards the end of the season, they started to drop like flies. Every single game, they lost one person in that offensive line, and they had to rebuild it with their backups. And during the beginning of this game, it looked like they couldn't protect Joe Burrow at all. They were just running by them. I was like, do they have Von Miller? Do they have Aaron Donald snuck into Chiefs uniforms? I don't know how they're able to blow by this offensive line like it's not even there. And the Bengals had to already start behind again. They always put themselves in this hole to try and get out. And look, the Bengals are very good at getting out of these deficits, but there's only so much you can do. There's only so many times you could play with luck to where, it's the rub of the green's not going to go your way. And what they had to go up against was possibly, what I think is the most statement game of Patrick Mahomes' entire career. This is his flu game. This is his Michael Jordan flu game. And what a performance it really was. I mean, nothing can be downplayed that he just put this entire team on his back. Because we talk about how the 49ers were ravaged with injuries. This Chiefs team was devastated, was demolished to a point to where Patrick Mahomes was making Marquez Valdez-Scantling looking like Randy Moss out there. Like, this guy had what was it, a buck 20? A buck 16. Like, what, against the Bengals in one of the biggest games of his entire life? And it's all because that one guy. I mean, he lost 3 of his core receivers in that game within the first half. And he was able to make it work. Obviously, he had Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce did Travis Kelce thing, got a touchdown. But it was just the Patrick Mahomes game. It was his ankle game. It was whatever had to be done. And, Joe Burrow played a bit uncharacteristic. 2 interceptions. And one wasn't his fault. Was just, they weren't 100% his fault, but it was just like, the second one to T. Higgins, he ran the same play twice. And I feel like, you're kind of playing with fate. You shouldn't be doing that. It was a bit underthrown, it got caught in the sky, but it was heartbreaking. But I give all credit to the Chiefs that they were able to do this, because the Bengals were healthier. I mean, the Bengals should have won this game, but the Chiefs wanted this more. And yeah, it's a bit of the pressure that the Bengals players were saying, we're going to Burrowhead, we're going to this and that. Even the mayor of Cincinnati coming out. And I think they gave themselves the kiss of death, because this Chiefs team just wanted it more than the Bengals team did, because they knew that they were the underdogs going into this game. They're like, we are the underdogs, and we have Patrick Mahomes, a guy who's won a Super Bowl, who's going to be MVP this year. That we're not having it. We have the greatest tight end of all time, not happening. And that's just what happened. They took this game over, and they're fully deserving to go to Super Bowl.
Patrick LeVon Mahomes II. Enough said. Statement performance. He shut up every single doubter that was left. He proved that not only is he the greatest quarterback of this new era of quarterbacks, I don't even want to hear Joe Burrow better than Patrick Mahomes. There is Patrick Mahomes, everybody else. That's where this tier list of quarterbacks starts right now. Patrick Mahomes is that guy, the greatest quarterback in the NFL right now. That's just what it is. This performance, just when I thought this guy couldn't do anything that could make me more shocked, more amazing than he already does, he pulls the rabbit out of the hat. He makes water turn to he does unbelievable things. it's almost this is magisterial. This was magical, an unbelievable performance from Patrick Mahomes. He put this team on his back. He did things that I couldn't even fathom. He was throwing by the end of the game to Marcus Kemp, Sky Moore, and Marquez Valdez-Scantling was his number one receiver at the end of the game. This is unheard of. This is unbelievable. We have not seen a quarterback do these types of things with these nobody receivers since Tom Brady when he was in the Patriots. I always said Brady can make any receiver look good. And Mahomes is doing the same thing. He can make any receiver look good. And like he proved it last night. By the end of the game, he had nobodies. He had a punt returner in Sky Moore who during the season
he had a huge game. He made up for all those,
He made up for every mistake he made.
Yeah, every mistake he ever did in his entire life. Not even just season, his entire life.
Look, Patrick Mahomes had no help from his running game. Isaiah Pacheco had 26 yards. Patrick Mahomes was second on the team in rushing with 8 yards, and he had a bum ankle. Look, this Chiefs team is not the best Chiefs team I've ever seen. I mean, throughout this 5-year run where they've made the AFC Championship game every single time, this is not the best Chiefs team by any stretch of the imagination. But there is one thing that remains consistent, and that's Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, obviously, but mostly Patrick Mahomes. That's who I'm going to give the credit to here. It's just absolutely unbelievable. But I do want to give a quick shout out to their defense. The Kansas City defense stepped up when they needed to. I mean, they were able to hold Joe Burrow in this dynamic offense to only 20 points. This was a performance I didn't necessarily expect. This was a team that, statistically speaking, this defense is not that good, and it never has been. But when they needed to step up and play their best game, this is exactly what they did. And Chris Jones, what a magisterial performance on that defensive line. When it mattered most, he was the one that was able to get the pressure on Joe Burrow and make things happen. This is what you expect from your star guys. He came to play along with the rest of this team. I mean, George Karlaftis had a decent game. I could go down the line. Reed had a pretty good game. There were so many guys who had a pretty good game for this Chiefs team. And, I give a lot of credit to that defense, and they're going to have to play pretty much a near perfect game again in the Super Bowl. But, for me, keep that highlight in the spotlight on Patrick Mahomes, because for me, and I've been thinking about this after this game, and look, I rate Patrick Mahomes so highly, just like everyone else does. For me, Patrick Mahomes, after this game, has cemented himself is not the greatest ever, but the most talented quarterback of all time. I have, for a long time, considered Aaron Rodgers to be the most talented eye candy quarterback I've ever seen. I rate Aaron Rodgers so highly, but he's officially lost his spot at number one. Tom Brady will be the greatest ever because of his accolades, and I respect that. But in terms of eye test, in terms of the things he does on the football field with his arm, able to escape pressure, able to do things that you just don't see other guys do, Patrick Mahomes has become the number one most talented quarterback I have ever seen. That's just what it is. After this performance, he has become that guy, and he's only age 27. He's only going to get better. I don't know.
He's in his prime. This is his prime. This is basically his prime.
I doubt for any quarterback. Look, arguably, you could say that Tom Brady's 7 Super Bowl record right now is never going to be broken. That's almost like a Wilt Chamberlain NBA record. Like, it's just never going to get touched.
Yeah.
So
like a Bill Russell thing. It's never going to be touched.
It's one of those things like he might never become the GOAT per se because of that record. That's always going to be something that you can hold against him. He's never going to get as many as Tom Brady. But for me, just based on talent and ability and what I can see with my 2 eyes when I watch a quarterback play, Mahomes has become the number one most talented quarterback I've ever seen.
Yeah, and like you said, we do. People like to make those type of statements, like for example, Shaq was the most dominant player of all time, but he wasn't the best. He wasn't the greatest because there's other guys that just had better careers than him. And yeah, Tom Brady will always be the greatest player of all time. But I can second that because like you said, you thought it was more of Aaron Rodgers, and I've never really rated Aaron Rodgers out. I think this is already, in my opinion, Patrick Mahomes is already better than Aaron Rodgers all time. I think he's already past them because Patrick Mahomes is able to do this in the regular season and in the playoffs. Look, Okay, I'll stop myself there. I don't want to be
No,
an Aaron
go. Keep
Rodgers
going.
hater. Look,
This is a good clip.
I was already gonna
I'm cutting
pile
this
on
part
Aaron
out.
Rodgers, but look, this is something that I can always appreciate from Patrick Mahomes, that he keeps that same energy regular season and in the playoffs. He is just as good as he is. And opposite of the flip side of Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is also talented, but so is Patrick Mahomes. I mean, Patrick Mahomes can do has the probably a little bit of a better arm than Aaron Rodgers, and he has legs on him. He can even on a bum ankle, he can run around. And yeah, maybe he was play. I feel like he was playing it up a little bit for the cameras, extra
Oh,
little limps in there, but it's
nah.
still it's still not 100% ankle. And when the play call needed him to run, to go get those yards, he said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go get it." And that's something you can respect from a competitor, because that's what he is. He's a competitor at the highest level. Whatever that needs to be done to win, he'll do it. And yes, he'll never be better than Tom Brady, but not a lot of people will. I mean, that's
Well,
some
nobody
shit.
probably will.
That's some shit you can never hold against yourself. But he's definitely, like you said, I think he is one of the most talented, or the most talented quarterback we've ever seen, because who can really do everything that he does? Like, Tom Brady cannot run like Patrick Mahomes, unfortunately. And yeah, there's some aspects Tom Brady's better. Like, he can read defenses better than Patrick Mahomes, but Patrick Mahomes is no slouch. He can read. I mean, this is not some guy that's illiterate,
That
but
touchdown to Marquez Valdez-Scantling showed just how
uh,
good he can
just
read a
how
defense, because I
yeah,
don't even know how he saw that window.
yeah, like he can read a defense, but obviously he has everything. I mean, I don't know if there's a weakness in his game, other than like sometimes he might go for the highlight
Be a
reel and
little bit too
goes
flashy.
a little bit
That
too flashy, risk it for the biscuit. But that's been this Chiefs entire play call. I mean, that's what their play call books call it. It's go basically risk it for the biscuit. They like doing stuff that no one else really does, because they know they have that guy. And I second that. I think going into the Super Bowl, this is, if he's able to pull this off, this is going to be up there with one of the most remarkable, I mean, runs to a win, because it is the flip side to the Eagles. I mean, the Eagles were able to get a pretty lucky one. The Chiefs had to go through this Bengals team, because yes, as cocky as the Bengals were, and I saw a pretty funny comparison on Undisputed, that they compared this Bengals team to the Grizzlies, who were very cocky for not winning nothing. But yeah, the Bengals were the team they had to go through, because they were the defending champs of that division. So the Chiefs went there, passed the test with flying colors, and now they're going to the Super Bowl, where they are the underdogs once again. I think they're a 1-point dog, and that's just
Eh,
how it's going to have to be. They're going to have to play one of the games of their lives, because this Eagles defense is very good, and this Eagles team is going to run the ball down their throat. They're going to have to do whatever they can to stop the run.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
obviously, we're going to get more into that when we release our Super Bowl, analysis and what we think is going to happen. But
yeah.
I
Because
mean,
obviously both of our predictions probably would be different based on. I mean, look,
yeah, I mean,
just
unfortunately, our Super Bowl predictions are out the window. None of my teams that I predicted have made it. One of the teams you did made it, but
I'm
you
rooting for
didn't
the
pick them
Chiefs
to
now. I'm rooting
win.
for the Chiefs now. I don't care. I'm rooting
Yeah,
for the Chiefs, man.
you didn't pick them to win, but you got one of the finalists correctly.
I
So I
did.
mean,
That
that's
was.
some type of credit. But
I feel like I was kind of robbed of the 49ers, but look,
yeah.
we are this is pretty much getting to the end here, but quick little question here, just a quick little side segment, quick little thing. In your estimation, what do you think, if anything, what do you think Tom Brady no hold on.
Tom Brady.
In your
Well,
estimation, what do you think Patrick Mahomes could do to catch Tom Brady and become the GOAT?
to catch Brady, because what he's made, what, 3 Super Bowls in 4 years, was it? No, he's no, it's, yeah, 3 Super Bowls in 4 years, because he won one, then went back to the Bucks. Realistically, it just might be an impossible task. I mean, in my eyes, I
I mean, if
can't
he plays
really
to
see it.
45, he still has a long time left. So I'm just saying, what do you think he has to do in terms of what does he have to? How many Super Bowls? How many MVPs? What does he have to do?
So I think he had to at least win 2 more MVPs, and let's say, I'm just saying 2 more MVPs, regular season MVPs, because I don't think he's gonna get 8. He's not gonna get 8 Super Bowls. That's not what it's. You're gonna have to at least get 5 or 4. Gotta be and you gotta get multiple Super Bowl MVPs. I think that if you get there and start catching some of these records that because that's what it's gonna have to come down to. You have to catch the records that Tom has set. You have to start breaking them, and that's obviously, and it's like Goliath, man. It's I don't know what. if it'll ever be done, but that's where we'll have to start. That's like, without going super in detail, like get five Super Bowls at least five. Brady has 7 and have at least three MVPs, regular season MVPs.
Well, he's already about to have 2.
So I mean, yeah, he's 1 away. I mean, but then we have win this Super Bowl and then win. What was it? This will be his
you have
second
to
one.
win 3 more.
Win 3 more. So
Yeah.
that's a big task to do. But the Chiefs are they're just dogs. I mean, they're winners. They've been to the past 5 AFC championship games.
And this is a stacked AFC.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is the most stacked division in football, and they're able to do this. I mean, yeah, what was it?
The AFC conference, yeah.
Oh, AFC, yeah. Not division, yeah, conference.
Yeah, and for the most part, I actually agree. I think to have a chance at catching Tom Brady in terms of the GOAT debate, he has to win at least 5 Super Bowls. Obviously, if he gets 7 or close, 6, whatever, that gives him a better chance. But at least 5 Super Bowls.
Well, if you get 7, then yes. I mean, if you Tom Brady and you're onto them, you are better than Tom Brady.
Yeah. So look, to catch Tom, he's probably going to have to get, in my opinion, at least 5 Super Bowls, 4 league MVPs, and then he's going to have to obviously probably break
some of the records. He's going to have to come for
some of the records. He's going to have to probably break the all-time passing yards record, potentially the all-time touchdowns record. I mean, a lot of that is going to come down to how long is Patrick Mahomes going to play. We don't know how long he's going to play. I mean, is he going to be like Brady and play till in his 40s? I don't know.
And he's going to have to, go through a Chiefs rebuild because, I mean, how many rebuilds did Brady have to go through with it? But they just kept winning because Travis Kelce is not going to be around forever. I don't think Kelce will be around for, Patrick Mahomes' entire career. He might be, but is he going to be this level, Travis Kelce, like, greatest tight end of all time level? It's hard to say, but
hard to say, yeah.
It's if they get anybody comparable at wide receiver, because right now they have nobody. I mean, I don't know. You get Odell, maybe you get DeAndre Hopkins. Help make it a little bit easier, man. I mean, somewhat easier, or if not, just get some guys on defensive end, strengthen that defense. But it's a lot that has to be done because like football is the most team centric sport in the world. I mean, you can't really, you can have the greatest quarterback of all time, but if your defense sucks ass, you're not going to go nowhere. Nothing's ever going to happen.
It has to be at least like above kind of mid.
It has to be average. You have to be middle of the pack.
Chiefs have always been kind of average on defense, and sometimes maybe even worse than average.
Yeah, but because their offense was always so great. Good. I mean, but let's just say, maybe next season their offense is not as good. You're going to need your defense. It's like a balancing thing. It's like if your defense is like right here, then your offense has to be here. But if your defense is so high, then you can get away with your offense not being that great. But that's what we're going to have to see. I mean, only time will tell what's going to happen because we can't see the future.
Yeah. I think it's just one of those things. Obviously, this conversation is going to be had for, so many more years to come, catching Tom Brady in that debate, because it's only a matter of time before Mahomes becomes the second greatest quarterback of all time. I mean, a couple more seasons, a couple more Super Bowl appearances. I mean, it's a matter of time at this point. By the end of his career, he's going to at least have that. So obviously, the debate is going to continue to rage on throughout his career. I mean, right now it's not much of a debate, but it could become a debate, and obviously,
who knows?
Who knows how that's going to end. But I think without further ado, we can go ahead and wrap this one up.
Yeah, I mean, ran on a bit longer than we had to, but I mean it is pretty late, so we're a bit discombobulated,
Well,
but
we got a couple things to cut out. It'll be shorter than what it says on the screen right now. But look, all things considered, we just wanted to thank y'all for the continued support. Well, not even continued support, for the support on the first episode, getting us to 25 subscribers, maybe even more by the time this is posted.
Hopefully,
who knows?
26 subscribers, please.
So we appreciate the continued support. Obviously, we will have more content coming out on this channel. I don't know. We think we might do a NBA video, maybe an NFL offseason thing. I don't know what's exactly to come, but stay tuned for that because we got more content coming out soon. Check out the main channel. We always got more content coming out on there as well. I think, this isn't necessarily the channel to talk about that, but we're up to 716 subs. We gained a crazy amount of subs on that channel, so we appreciate the support on that as well. For the
If you
ones
like
who have came
European
over,
football, you want to get
yeah,
into it, want to learn
yeah,
some European ball,
check it out.
it is only the world's game,
Check it out over there. It's like in the top corner. You can check it out. Click on it.
Somewhere
It's
somewhere over
yeah
there.
above G. But
Above
yeah,
me.
without further ado, I'm your co-host Zach,
Number code is G.
and we'll see y'all next time for episode 3. Peace.